In the closing days and weeks of this campaign, Donald Trump's cognitive and health decline has become the subject everyone is talking about. Finally, the mainstream media is covering what they should have been for months now. We have been talking about how anyone with eyes and ears and even a couple of seconds to observe Donald Trump can clearly tell that he is deranged, but now we have finally gotten everyone talking about it. And Donald Trump is doing himself no favors in trying to quell these conversations because he just proves again and again, one, that he is unfit to be president because of his cognitive decline, but two, that he is completely exhausted as a candidate and someone doing fewer rallies than he has in the past, yet he still can't take it. He is basically falling asleep at this point as his campaign stops and his interviews get cut short. And speaking of falling asleep, a very openly exhausted Donald Trump, he admitted it today, was kind of nodding off in the most humiliating fashion at the worst time during a roundtable that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I can quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button and join the community that we are building on this channel. It really goes a long way and means the world to me. Now let's get into this complaining clip of Donald Trump.
Mike, we'll talk in a couple of minutes. How about we'll go through it pretty quick, Dale, and then I'm going over to make a little speech in front of 10,000 people. You think this is an easy life I have, right? I go from here, I say, am I finished? They say, no, sir, you have one more speech. Oh, good, where is it? What is it, 20 minutes, 30 minutes away? Is anybody going? It's about, like, we'll get you in 10,000 people. But
even he is admitting it at this point. He is exhausted. He cannot do the day-to-day work of campaigning. He can't even sit down for a Fox interview at this point without it being cut short. Even when a MAGA podcaster or comedian is holding his hand through an interview, throwing him softball questions, trying to help him out, Donald Trump is too tired. He is too out of it. And as we are getting more and more reports from his staff confirming this, it is clearly driving Donald Trump crazy because he keeps being asked the question that he hates to hear. Why are you so weak and why are you so scared? And it's the reason he's trying to project strength that clearly isn't working for Donald Trump, but we can see that in some of his rally right here.
Well, it's an honor to be with you. We're doing very well in the polls, as you've probably heard. They're getting very big numbers, Byron. They're getting much bigger than even anticipated. So I don't know what that means. That's a poll in itself, but the early voting seems to be even far bigger than we thought, or we had great expectations. People are not loving her, and why should she? She didn't show up for the big Catholic event. This hasn't happened in decades. She didn't show up. She gave a very short tape, and it was not an appropriate tape either, but she probably hasn't figured that out yet. And we should have gotten about 100% of the Catholic vote last night because I showed up.
Donald Trump is really hanging on to this Al Smith dinner, which Kamala Harris did make an appearance at. Of course, it was a video appearance, but she was out on the campaign trail. That is why she was not in attendance. But Trump is trying to pretend that Kamala not physically being there is comparable to him not wanting to debate her, not wanting to do interviews with serious outlets like CNBC or 60 Minutes, but it's just not the case, Donald. And also, you are not up in the polls, and just like your exhaustion, your poll numbers continue to get worse and worse. So I really wouldn't try to make that case, especially when Kamala Harris is doing such a great job calling it out, making this an issue in the campaign, as she did right here.
And check this out. His own campaign team recently said it is because of exhaustion. Well, if you are exhausted on the campaign trail, it raises real questions about whether you are fit for the toughest job in the world. Come on. Come on.
I love this as a closing message. He is too tired. He is too out of it. He is too deranged to do the toughest job in the world of being president. And Kamala Harris is the new, fresh face that we have been looking for, the face of a new generation. And in comparison to Donald Trump, are we serious here? It's not even a comparison. That's what we saw up on the debate stage, and that's why we need to continue to make this argument, because it shows the strength that Kamala Harris has that voters need to see. She is talking about the issues. Donald Trump is really just unraveling, and when he does try to talk about the issues, and tries is an important word right there, he says nonsense like this right here.
Thank you. And that was easy. I didn't even do anything other than say, I'm telling you, the man said it right over here. It's the most beautiful word in the dictionary. You have other words that are damn nice like love, but I tell you, I think it's more beautiful than love, the word tariff. And so here
Tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. It is the weak and old and tired talking point that Donald Trump continues to go to without being able to define how they would actually help working people, when in fact that is the opposite. Economists have predicted that if Donald Trump implemented his tariff plan, which is really just a tax on the middle class, it would cost regular American families about $4,000 a year more. Yet that's not a good plan for anyone, Donald. But of course, he doesn't care. He doesn't actually care about the implementation. He just wants to throw out words to pretend like he knows what he's talking about. And one time in which Donald Trump's plans seem to have a little bit of coherence to them, they're just entirely scary, as we can see right here.
So, Jim, one thing we're going to be doing, and we're going to be doing it strongly, and I've wanted to do it and looked at it for a long time, but we have to do it. Immunity for some of these places. You said you have 14 people and you don't believe maybe one or two. I mean, maybe some are guilty of something, but I would bet you a lot of them aren't. And they're going through hell, and their pension's going to be gone. Frankly, their family's going to end up being gone, their car, their house, everything. So we want to do immunity. We also want to call for the death penalty for anybody killing a police officer.
I've been noticing him talk about immunity for police officers more and more, and I think it's because Donald Trump is focused on how he can enact violence if he were to become president again. He's talked about going after the enemies from within. He's talked about his mass deportation plan, and that is why he continues to bring up this issue, and it should really scare us because he is a more extreme person than ever, both in his thoughts, in his rhetoric, and in the actions that he wants to take, especially as he continues to go into cognitive decline. And of course, Donald Trump is also just in decline physically. He's too tired, as he admitted earlier. And so we can see in the middle of this roundtable him start to nod off. Let's take a look.
Incidents. Not one of them had their gun out of their holster. These weren't barricaded gunmen, wasn't a bank robbery. These were ambushes. That's in Michigan, 3 in 90 days. And they never fired a shot.
Kamala Harris has started playing clips of Donald Trump at her rallies, which I absolutely love. She called on us to watch his rallies. She called on voters to watch his rallies and see how extreme they are. So bring the rallies to us. I love that from Kamala Harris. I think she should play that clip of just sleepy Donald Trump falling apart, can't even listen to people talk about the issues that they care about. While, on the other hand, Kamala Harris is talking about the issues that people care about and calling out Donald Trump's anti-labor stances in this great takedown right here.
And lowered labor standards and made it easier for companies that break the laws to get federal contracts. Donald Trump encouraged automakers of Michigan so they could pay their workers less, encouraged them to move so they could pay their workers less. Okay? And when the UAW went on strike to demand the higher wages you deserve, Donald Trump went to a non-union shop and attacked the UAW. He said striking and collective bargaining don't make, and I'm going to quote, a damn bit of difference. So here's the bottom line. Donald Trump's track record is a disaster for working people. And he is, I believe, an existential threat to America's labor movement. And everything he intends to do if he is reelected is also spelled out in that Project 2025. So to read it and to know it is to know he intends to launch a full-on attack on unions and the freedom to organize, okay? He will ban public sector unions, roll back workplace safety protections. Read it when you have some time, Google it, everybody's watching. Look, he will make it easier for companies to deny overtime pay for workers and appoint a union buster to run the Department of Labor. Be sure of that. Be sure of that. So to all the friends here, I say what you already know. It's time to turn the page. This is turn the page.
Kamala Harris is focused. Donald Trump is falling asleep. That is the contrast. That is how we close in this election. And especially because it's upsetting Donald Trump so much. When he was asked by a reporter about his health records, he absolutely lost it. And we got to take a look.
Release your health records.
Yeah, my health records, I've done 5 exams over the last 4 years. You've got them all. Obviously, I'm in the middle of a very big and very contentious fight. We're leading. I've given my health exams. I've also done cognitive tests twice, and I've aced them, meaning a perfect score. I want to see her do a cognitive test because she couldn't ace because she wasn't born smart. All right, thank you, everybody.
I guess better late than never for the mainstream media and journalists actually doing their jobs, finally asking Donald Trump about his declining cognitive state, his declining health. And yeah, it's clearly upsetting him because he knows the truth and he's trying to hide. But we can't let him, and we're going to keep calling him out on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.